Hi YouTube! So I got a new microphone, so hopefully I sound nice. It actually wasn't a new microphone, but it was a microphone that I already had, and I didn't think to hook it up to my camera, but then I realized I could. So now I can do all of the ASMR videos that everyone likes so much, even though they creep me the heck out. Just kidding, that is not a thing that I will be doing. But hopefully my audio sounds a little bit nicer than it did in the past two videos. The Switch has been out for almost exactly a year at this point, a little bit longer. And I want to really take a critical look at that first year and how it stacks up with other Nintendo consoles that have come out and other current gen consoles. Especially because I think that the Switch is being praised quite a bit for having such a successful launch and such a successful first year. And I think it's really important to see why it's getting that praise and what Nintendo's doing right here. I do want to add a little bit of a disclaimer that this video took a lot of preliminary research on my part. Please remember that this is a YouTube video and not some kind of a peer-reviewed research paper, so there could be flaws. I am fallible, as much as it pains me to admit it. Feel free to let me know in the comments below if you think something that I've said is wrong, and I will try and provide you with the sources that I used. Now, when I started my research, I really thought that I'd be talking about how the Switch has done so well because it's got so many great games in the first year, and it's done so well because it handled the launch window more strongly than previous systems. And the truth is, that's not right. That's not the case, really at all. Has the Switch had a lot of really great games in its first year? Yes, absolutely. Has the Switch done really well sales-wise? Yes, absolutely. But actually, if you look at past consoles, there's not really a direct correlation there a lot of the time. For example, a common comparison here is that the Switch is doing much better sales-wise than the Wii U has been. The big titles within the first year from the Switch, from Nintendo specifically, were Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, ARMS, Splatoon 2, 1-2 Switch, and Snipperclips. So 6. I'm including Snipperclips, but it's also not a physical release. And all of this is somewhat debatable, but to me, the 6 titles that I just listed are the big titles from Nintendo specifically that were released on the Switch. And when you compare that with the Wii U, their big titles from Nintendo, or Nintendo exclusive, New Super Mario Bros. U and Luigi U, Nintendo Land, Wind Waker HD, Wii Sports Club, Pikmin 3, Wonderful 101, Wii Fit U, and Game & Wario. Those were all in the first year. 8 big Nintendo titles. And then when you look at the system that's known for doing amazing in sales in its first year, the Wii, those titles were I've always talked about how the Wii U actually had a really strong lineup, and you might see that if you watched older videos. But really, to think that the Wii U had such a strong lineup within its first year compared to the Wii, and compared to the Switch in some ways even, is sad, because we all know the Wii U did quite poorly in sales. So let's talk about sales, just so we're all kind of on the same page here. The Wii had about 17 million in sales its first year, which is a very big number. The Switch is at about 15 million as of January. There's a very good chance that the Switch has surpassed the Wii, but we're waiting for the first quarter financial results to see where that goes. And by comparison, the Wii U sold about 5 million in its first year worldwide. It's not ideal. And if you wanted to compare with other current gen games, the PS4 sold a little bit under 15 million in its first year, and the Xbox One sold somewhere around 10 million. So of course, it's worth noting that what happens in the first year won't necessarily dictate what happens for the rest of a console's lifetime, but setting up the system with good sales now ensures, or at least promotes, for third parties to do more stuff on the system, so it's good. We are doing good. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Switch. But I do want to attribute the Switch's success to the Wii U's failures in some ways, because I think Nintendo and Nintendo of America have really learned from the huge mistakes that they made with the Wii U that many of us complained about from the start and why they didn't listen in the first place. So what is the Switch doing right? They're making good use of their IPs. They got new Mario and Zelda in their first year. And then in their first year, they've also announced games for Metroid, Pokemon, Kirby, Fire Emblem. We got Mario Kart and a sports game. And Nintendo also included new IPs in their lineup of games like ARMS and Snipper Clips. But really where Nintendo went right here was in marketing and communicating to the consumer, because where they failed with the Wii U was in marketing and communicating to the consumer. I couldn't tell you how many random middle-aged women have talked to me about the fact that they didn't understand that there was a difference between the Wii and the Wii U, and they felt they didn't need the Wii U because they already had the Wii. And it wasn't because they just decided that they didn't want to upgrade a system. It was because they sincerely did not know that the Wii U is a new console, or what it was. What kind of console is it? The naming choice was straight up a bad idea. Calling it the Wii 2 would have made more sense to people. The Switch, on the other hand, tons of marketing around it. It had a freaking Super Bowl commercial. I've got cable now, so I've been watching more TV. I know that they have commercials on Comedy Central, on Cartoon Network. I see Nintendo commercials all the time for the Switch. And not just for the Switch, for a variety of different games. For Mario, for Skyrim, lots of stuff. We've got Mario cereal now. Mario cereal with amiibos in it. Now that Illumination is making a Mario movie, I think this is really just going to ramp up and up and up for Nintendo. I'm really excited for where Nintendo's going with all of this. I really like it when Nintendo does marketing things. It's my favorite. And the other thing that I think has really pushed the Switch over the edge is that they had not one, but 2 amazing Game of the Year candidates and winners, and that was Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. I think it's one thing to release a new Mario or a new Zelda game at launch, but it's another thing to release both in the same year and have both be so fantastic that they're vying for the same Game of the Year spot. Now, the one thing that people have complained about a lot with the Switch are the ports. So for reference, in my research I found that about 375 titles were released in America on the Switch, both physical and eShop, and 14 of those were published by Nintendo. Only 40 of those 375 are exclusive to the Switch. 40 out of 375 games, it's not a lot of exclusives. But I think it's really, really worth noting that this is kind of the point in time where third-party developers are deciding whether or not it's worth developing something special for Nintendo for the Switch. The Wii U did not sell well. There's no reason for third-party developers to super trust how well the Switch is doing and trust that if they make something exclusive to the Switch that it's going to sell really well. There was no reason until the Switch did 15 million in sales in the first year, which they have now done. So now there is incentive. But I think and I hope that as we see going forward, other companies are going to start getting into that mix and publishing things that are just for Nintendo and just suited to be played on the Switch. However, I do want to argue that as it stands right now, having a lot of these ports on the Switch is awesome. I will play just about any video game that I've already enjoyed when it's in portable mode. I'm willing to play games that I haven't enjoyed in the past when it's in portable mode. And I know not everyone is the same as me, but I love portable gaming, and I talk about this all the time. I love my 3DS. I love playing games on my phone, on a tablet. The way of the future. And when these companies see that they can get extra mileage out of games that they've already made without doing too much extra work to them, it's kind of an easy decision to make. So let them just kind of get it out of their system, get this backlog out on the Switch, let me play some portable games, and I think they're going to get to the good stuff a little bit down the line. So all in all, the Switch had a very good first year in terms of getting these good first-party games out, but it's not the first time that Nintendo has done well with this, and it's not even the first time recently that Nintendo has done well with this. We've got plenty of press coverage, plenty of good reviews, plenty of support, and now it's time to see where the Switch takes us. And I'm really excited for E3 this year. I think it's going to be a great year for E3. We only just got the Switch last E3. The year before, we didn't even know it was called the Switch yet. So if I was going to rate the Switch's first year, I say, solid A, and I would only improve that to an A+ if they would have announced Animal Crossing within the past couple months, but I'll give them a pass on that because I'm sure it's coming. I'm pretty sure the Switch's second year is going to be just as strong as the first, but we'll see how that goes. Don't like to count my eggs before they're hatched. Count my chickens before... I think I messed that phrase up. Let me know down below what you think of the Switch's first year and how Nintendo's handled it. Love you! I just realized my shirt's inside out. Pretend that I wasn't wearing this all day at work and everything.